My teenage years were lived in a period when the world was in great fear of a Third World War, an atomic war, a war more terrible than anything that happened in the Second World War. People in London were digging shelters under their house to try and protect them. In the late 50s, the Soviets exploded in the atmosphere in Siberia a bomb they called the Tsar hydrogen bomb, 3,000 times more powerful than the bomb which destroyed Hiroshima. My friends and I, and my close friend Laurie, we were all convinced that the end of the world was coming. And the popular song of that time was, "Don't you know, we're on the eve of destruction." And so Laurie and I would talk about how much longer the world could go. We thought maximum 30 years, maybe 40. And because of our religious belief, we thought that this Holocaust would bring Jesus back. Jesus would intervene in this fiery Holocaust, which was, after all, what the book of Revelation was talking about in code. Nowadays, it's on again. By that I mean the end of the world. And our young people, our young friends talk about it often. Global warming, the melting of the ice caps, the waters rising. There seems an inevitability about it. The planet is on its last days. Talk of war has gone, but these terrible inflictions that we've worked on the planet are going to pay out, and we're going to have to pay the price, which could well be the extinction of our world as we know it. I've been looking at some interviews of rather important people, interviews taken around that period, the 60s and the 70s. Carl Jung was asked in an interview, did he think there was going to be a Third World War? Well, he said, I think there will be unless the consciousness of people change. But while they're in the frame of mind that seems to dominate at that particular time, he said, I think a Third World War will come. And he's talking about people being so sure of themselves, blaming other people. He says there has to be a change of consciousness. People have to realise, all people, that they are somehow involved in the direction the world is going in. Another person who wrote prolifically on the eve of the Second World War was Maria Montessori, and she's famous because she started the preschool movement, preschool education. And she said in one of her books, the only way that people will turn away from their love of making war is if they take notice of their children, because their children don't want war. Their children want love and peace and playing and supporting each other. If a nation will turn to love its children, then it will be a peaceful nation. Now, I found the same thing in Margaret Mead, the anthropologist. She studied many different tribes in New Guinea, and she writes that in some tribes, they really disregarded the lives of children, and they were cruel to babies, threw them in rushing streams and things like that. And she said those tribes were very warlike, but a few tribes really cared for their children, really treasured them. And these tribes were peaceful, peace-loving, and could be trusted. They looked towards reconciliation and building a peaceful world. Montessori and Margaret Mead, the same opinion. If you want to have a peaceful world, turn to your children. Don't teach them, but learn from them. But what do we do now? Well, have more cocktails. Build lovely houses where we can cocoon ourselves. Shut the door, turn on the hi-fi, turn on our various devices and pretend the rest of the world isn't out there, and hope that it continues to exist until our time is over. No, I don't think that's really the way. Carl Jung was talking about a change of consciousness. He was talking about how old people could be part of that change of consciousness. He said that old people, instead of thinking about their aches and pains, should embrace life, should think of hopeful things, should think of good things to achieve as long as they lived. Great thoughts. Jung was very strong on the idea that human life can only continue if humans have meaning, if they have meaning individually in their lives. And he urged people to turn towards a positive. And I think that is correct. I think that's what we must do. And so I'm a little person, you're a little person, we have a little circle of influence, but let's live positively within that circle, and let's do everything we can to affirm what is peaceful and good. Now that may not change the climate, but it could change the climate in which we live amongst the people with whom we live. Imagine it's like a pebble in a pond, and we're each a little pebble. And if we send out positive vibes to those around us, then that's not wasted and it may be picked up. Whatever your religion or philosophy or meditation, go for it. Turn on to the things which help you to be positive. I have my way through the Christian faith, but you need to find your way, and let us all be part of this positivity in the face of all the problems, and who knows what might happen. At least we will have tried.